Good morning, everyone. It's Father Ron at Sacred Heart Church. Today I'm with Melissa Nussbaum, who is a parishioner here at Sacred Heart and theologian. And Melissa, I think we met probably around 40 years ago or so at Notre Dame. Yeah. So Melissa is here today to talk about the domestic church, about all the ways in which we can be aware and attentive to our families, especially during this time when we're not together in community. So Melissa, welcome.
Thank you.
Yes. So talk to us a little bit about, I know you've written a lot about the domestic church, and talk to us now, especially in this time when we're not together. And how do we maintain some of the rituals that are so vital to our faith, maintaining those at home?
It is a curious time, but I think it's interesting because it's really a time when we have the opportunity to remember and to renew and to live what the baptismal rite says about us as parents. Recall that the church doesn't say, this is the name we give your child. The church asks, what name do you give this child? And in doing so, the church recalls that the authority that God gives to Adam and Eve in the garden is, what name do you give these animals? What name do you give these birds of the air? And whatever name you give them, that is their name. So the church recognizes that your God-given right, your God-given authority is to name the world for your child. And whatever name you give the world, that is its name. We know that. What you call a blessing, the child knows to be a blessing. So this is an opportunity when we probably won't be meeting together for religious education, for parents to take that authority that's given to them in the baptismal rite, in which they're called the first and best of teachers, to do that. And sometimes people feel overwhelmed by the idea that they would be teachers of the faith at home. But I want people to stop and realize that in fact you already are. And I think the simplest thing for us to do is to begin by looking at those rituals, those daily rituals that parents already do, that they know by heart. And we do rituals because children are the most conservative of all human beings. You know that. This bowl, not another bowl. This blanket, not another blanket. This time, not another time. So we already are people of ritual if we're raising children. And I think the way to begin is looking at those rituals we already do and seeing how very often they fit right in with the more formal rituals of the church.
That's great, Melissa. I really, really appreciate that. And what would you say to folks at this time with parents who are really struggling with time and energy and perspective, working at home, trying to negotiate school life right now? What would you say in terms of just offering people some insight around time with their children?
Well, I think all of us feel that that's the one currency of which we never have enough. But I think let's begin with something in the morning. If you would greet your children by signing them with the cross, and if you would end the day by signing them with the cross, it takes almost no time, but it's a profound gesture because it says to your children, you belong to Christ. And I recognize that. I see that you are a child of God. When you think of all the false names that children hear day after day, too fat, too ugly, too poor, too brown, too white, girls especially, the names they hear, names that we don't even want to repeat, they're so ugly. What does it say to a child that you begin that child's day and end that child's day by saying, this is your true name, beloved daughter of God, beloved son of God? And that is one of those gestures that's very brief, but is freighted with meaning. Another thing I would say is we all have to eat. That's one thing we know, and children have to eat. Think about your table as a way in which they learn what it means to come to a blessed table, what it means to be welcome to a table, what it means to be heard at a table, what it means to be forgiven at a table, and how that connects to the altar table at church. Because you know you're going to eat, and it doesn't have to be elaborate, but just think of the ways in which you can at table say, "What happened today? Tell me about your day. I notice you've been reading that book. Tell me about that book." The table is often a place where there are arguments, where there are fights, where you find out that, yes, Sally took my favorite sweater and she wore it and she stretched it out and I'll never be able to wear it again. That's an opportunity to hear that and to learn how to forgive. And that's an opportunity too. Takes very little time. How do we as Americans, when someone says, "I'm sorry," what do we say? "That's okay. Well, don't ever do that again." Think about that. That's okay when it clearly isn't. That's a lie and your children know it. "Well, don't ever do that again" means I'm expecting you to screw up again and I'm going to be waiting to slap you down when you do it. How about relearning, "I forgive you"? Can you forgive me? Can you forgive her? Will you forgive? "I'm sorry, I forgive you." It doesn't have all the baggage of "just wait till next time, don't ever do that again," or "well, you always do something like that." Think about the ways in which we often answer that plea, "I'm sorry." That doesn't take any time, but it really brings children into a life where we meet a God of mercy, and where in the Mass we say, "Lord, have mercy. Christ, have mercy." Those are very simple things that honestly do not take any time at all, but can change the whole tenor of a day.
Great. Melissa, thank you so much. Have a great week, everybody. God bless.